Good morning. Our fuller program will begin after breakfast, but at this point, I would like to introduce Brother Bob Carson of the Society of Jesus for Grace. Brother Bob.
Let us begin in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Dear Lord, as we continue this day to nourish our souls and bodies with this celebration honoring the Father, Son, alumni, and the grace we have received in the food we are about to take, we thank you for all your gifts that you have given us. Continue to give us the abundance of your grace to fulfill your will in serving others, especially during this season. Thank you, Lord, for all the fathers, sons, and the alumni whom are gathered in this community we call St. Joseph's Preparatory School to celebrate the life you have given us, especially who are now gathered here for refreshment, conversation, and goodwill. Let us give gratitude for the gifts of our past alumni and fathers who were once here, a part of the vital tradition of the prep. Let us give thanks and gratitude to all those who worked to make this morning of celebration a success. Dear Lord, in the midst of thanksgiving and gratitude, please bring harmony and peace to all our global communities, especially within our own country, the United States. In all that we are thankful for in our gathering, let us say together, bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Good morning again. My name is Tony Braithwaite, and I am the prep class of 1989, and I work in the prep marketing and admissions office, and for the past 25 years, I have served as director of the Cape and Sword Drama Society here at the prep. Monty Python's Spamalot opens May 11th. It is my pleasure once again to serve as MC for this morning's event and to welcome you all here. I'd also like to welcome the members of the Board of Trustees who have joined us this morning. Mr. Chris Tretta, class of 71, Joe Mancano, class of 72, Bill McKernan, class of 87, Mark Reed, class of 92. I would also like to recognize a familiar face, our beloved former President, Father George Burr of the Society of Jesus, class of 59, and of course, our honored guest, Joe Oakes, from the class of 60, and his family. How about a big hand for all of them? At this time, it is my privilege to introduce today's keynote speaker. Joe DeCamara is a proud member of the great prep class of 1996 and the youngest of 4 brothers who all attended Mother Prep. Since leaving 17th and Girard, Joe has risen the ranks in the Philadelphia sports media community and can currently be heard every weekday from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 94 WYP. Joe is still an active prep alum, regularly attending Alumni Association meetings and speaking with the students of our WSJP Broadcast Club. He's also a friend and a hell of a guy. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Joe DeCamara. What's next?
Thank you, Tony, so much. It's always great to see Tony. I knew Tony when he was back in college. Thank you so much for such a warm reception. Certainly a different reception than Bryce Harper is going to get if he doesn't sign with the Phils. By the way, if anyone gets breaking news that he actually does sign in these next few minutes, please call it out. You have my permission to just interrupt the whole proceedings here. Thank you so much for having me here today. To Father Swope and the Alumni Association, I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak here at the Father-Son Communion Breakfast. One of my favorite days, one of the great traditions we have at the Prep, and I'm certainly really, truly appreciative, as I said, Father Swope privately, of the opportunity to be here. I want to congratulate Joe Oakes, hearing a lot about Joe today, and I look forward to hearing more. Joe Oakes won the Schnoor Award Chris Goot for the Men for Others Award, and Johnny Friedman on the Sauter Award. It's been great meeting all three of you, and I look forward again to hearing more all about you. I want to commend the students here today for your many varied achievements, academically, athletically, extracurricular, in the community. And I understand it's been another banner year for the prep, and I can certainly say for those of us who are alums, and there's a lot of us here that are alums today, you guys make us proud. The tradition continues. So congratulations on what you've done. You know, the prep's a very meaningful place for me. And it certainly played an instrumental role in shaping me both personally and professionally. I have no doubt it played a large role leading me into my journey into sports broadcasting. The prep helped me dream big while always simultaneously instructing me to handle the small. Right? Meaning, you know, dream the dream, chase the dream. We're all encouraged to do that, to try to achieve in any given field, but to never cut corners or shortchange the little things. The little things is such a big part of the prep. Discipline, structure, attention to details. These are all hallmarks of the prep, certainly of a Jesuit education, and I am certain that they have served me well. When I finish my show every day, first thing I do, as soon as the show's over, unless I have an event I have to get to, is to begin to prepare for the next day's show. It's, you know, I guess you can say an exercise in discipline. It's like Latin, you know, it's an exercise in discipline, and I'm appreciative of the prep's influence in me, you know, for me in that regard. I've been very fortunate to be involved in the extremely fun sports industry. In so many ways, it's really not all that different at all than our lunch table at the prep right here about 25 years ago when we used to sit and talk very passionately about Randall Cunningham, about Eric Lindros, about Lenny Dykstra. Now we talk, of course, very passionately about Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, Reese Hoskins, Ben Simmons, and, of course, Joel Embiid. Flyers need a goalie was a mantra we said at that lunch table for all 4 years I was here, right? Now we say, and that, by the way, that went on for a long time, right? Now we say, hey, the Flyers may finally have gotten a goalie, but could use a lot of help otherwise, although it was a cool win last night. So some things change, some don't. My experiences in the sports industry have been, you know, quite candidly, they've been exhilarating for me. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I don't take any of it for granted. At least I don't think I do. I'm very lucky. I've encountered situations sometimes that just blow my mind because I can remember what it's like to be your age. And you, of course, I'm speaking to the students here today. I can remember that. I can feel that still. You know, being a fan in my teenage years with a dream of being involved. You know, professionally, like I said, some amazing experiences. For instance, I once had a conversation, this was about 10 years ago, I had a conversation with Randall Cunningham on the phone. If you don't know, if the guys here don't know who Randall Cunningham was, former star quarterback at the Eagles, 80s into the 90s. Having a conversation with Randall, he asks me how Buddy Ryan's doing. Buddy was the former Eagles coach. He asks me for Buddy's phone number. Now, guys, that blew my brain away because this is the coach and the player that I grew up being such big fans of, and here, you know, the quarterback is asking me for the coach's number. That could happen to you guys. That would be like in about 10 or 15 years, Carson Wentz and you having a conversation and he asks you for Doug Peterson's phone number. It could happen. When it happened to me, for me, it was crazy. So I've been very fortunate to live my dream hosting a show 5 days a week on WIP. And really, that's no overstatement. It is a dream for me. If you were to talk to my high school friends, and many of them are here today, and I appreciate that, guys, they would tell you that I very much had this career in mind while I roamed the halls here at the prep. I don't share that anecdote about Buddy and Randall or anything else to say, look at me. Believe me, it's far from it. I share that to convey to you how fortunate I am to do something professionally that I love, really in order to encourage you guys, okay, to think about what you want to do in the future, to think about what your dream is, to identify and chase it, to go after it, to, as I heard someone say one time, don't just dream the dream, but live the dream. Adult life can be particularly enjoyable when you truly enjoy what you do professionally, when you get fulfillment out of it. The first person I ever heard convey that message in a way that it really crystallized in my mind was a teacher here at the prep named Mr. Taylor, an incredible teacher. I never forgot what he said, and I would strongly encourage you guys, as you move forward, to think in those terms about pursuing something or many things that you're passionate about in your years ahead. The prep, with its well-rounded instruction, I believe, prepared me in so many ways for life, and I'm confident that it's doing the same for you right now, even if you don't necessarily recognize it as it's happening. And you know, when I think of the prep and my experiences here, so many great memories and positive thoughts come to mind. I loved my prep experience. You know, I truly did. The work was challenging. There's no question about that. It's a lot of work, but it's supposed to be. It's okay. It's supposed to be. The curriculum dramatically expanded my horizons. The teachers were caring. We clearly were instructed to be kind. The spiritual side, as exemplified earlier today, it's a meaningful part. Was for me, I'm sure is for you here at the prep. And I had a lot of fun along the way. A ton of fun. I met a good percentage of my best friends and so many friends in my life in my 4 years here at the prep. I met so many wonderful people here. And really, that predates my days as a student. I first came into the prep at the age of 2 when my oldest brother, Phil, from the class of 1984, was a freshman here in 1980. As a very young kid growing up, I already knew about the great kindness of Father Sauter, our former president, of Mr. Gus Cooney, of Father Taggart, and of Mr. Bender, who would go on to become Dr. Bender. I saw the tremendous love and support that my 3 brothers received and that my entire family received in 1983 when my father passed away. I was 5 years old when my dad died. All 3 of my brothers were students at the prep that year. Our lives obviously changed forever in one day. It was completely devastating. But I witnessed and experienced the kindness that came our way from so many people here at the prep. For instance, Father Taggart, our first Christmas without our dad, just about 2 months after he had passed away, Father Taggart visited our home on Christmas Day. He and others would visit, sometimes planned, or as was the case that day with Father Taggart, unplanned. Just coming by with a hug, a smile, if we were up to it, basically just checking in to hope that we were doing the best we could and checking in on us. A great act of kindness from a great person. Dr. Bender, who I mentioned earlier, who is here with us today, right in front of me in this first table, seated right here at my table. One of the greatest teachers ever at the prep. I know it's a name that probably resonates more with some of the adults here that had Dr. Bender when you were students as opposed to the kids right now. Dr. Bender, an individual who may be the greatest teacher ever, okay? And I mean not just at the prep, I mean anywhere ever. And an individual who played such a pivotal role and continues to play such a pivotal role in my life in the absence of my father. For so many years he has. And Dr. Bender, it's something that I'm so truly grateful. Your love, your support, your guidance means the world to me. The actions of these great people and others that influenced me and helped me and my family, you know, it's a lesson I believe really for all of us. And it's one that I want to encourage you guys to think in terms of. When you see someone struggling, we know the prep message, to be a man for others. So when you see someone struggling, when you see someone going through a tough time, lend that person a hand. I honestly believe, regardless of all the other amazing attributes at the prep, and there are so many that span so many different parts of our school, I honestly believe it's the human side. It's this caring side, this men for others message. I really believe that is the single biggest lesson I learned during my years as a student at the prep. So the prep is very meaningful to me. And the opportunity for me to stand before you at this particular breakfast is something that is very special for me. Of course, I wish that my father was here today, just as I so wished in my 4 years attending this breakfast as a student that he had been with me those days as well. I was fortunate those years to always have an uncle or an older brother that would bring me to this event. My mom certainly brought me to a number of events through all the years in the absence of my father. My mom's here with me today, and Mom, you know how much I love you. That ovation saved me. It was getting dicey there for a second. I'm a little bit like Dick Vermeil. I want to take a moment to send my very best to those amongst you who are here today without your dad, and to those of you who have lost your mom. I know what it's like at this particular breakfast to hear messages about the father-son experience and to know that there's a huge hole in your heart and in your life, and to know that so many people around you don't know it, and if they do know the reality of the situation, they can't truly, fully understand it all. I know that's tough. Obviously, I've been there. My heart goes out to all of you today in that position. For those of you that are here today with your father, and I know that's certainly the vast majority of you, guys, cherish this moment. Cherish all the moments. You're very lucky. The father-son relationship, certainly one of the most important in all of life. A building block of society, but for you, a building block to your future. You're learning, you're growing, you're developing. You're learning all these things, but more than anything, you're experiencing love from your mother and from your father. Cherish the moments. I know you guys, I don't even have to be in your household to know that there's times you're going to have some tug of war with your dad, you're going to have some issues and battles, and that's fine because I believe it's inevitable. Some of it, some of it's fine. But guys, never lose sight in the midst of it that your father loves you, he wants the very best for you, and you're so very lucky to have your father in your life. For those of you that haven't done it yet, for all of you, I look forward to when you guys go to Kairos, because without getting into specifics, I'll simply say that I'm confident that it will enrich you personally, and I'm very confident as well that it will help bring your class together and bring the school together as it does every single year. It's one of the great, great, great things we have at the prep. It's a wonderful experience. So to each of you, as I see you sit here today, I know what it's like to sit in your seat. Of course, I cannot know your exact experience, far from it. We all have our own story in life, but I can relate to many things that you're going through. School, the battle of classes and trying to keep up with all that entails. Relationships, dealing with all the relationships you have with family and friends, with your teachers and so on. Dealing with adolescent realities, excitement, a lot of excitement, angst, confusion, maybe some doubt, I'm sure at times. As you're trying to figure out the best way for you to move forward and try to figure out where you fit in this great big puzzle of life, because we really all are a very small part of a very, very big puzzle. And I know it can be confusing and difficult sometimes to find your way. With that in mind, I'd like to offer some perspective to you guys, designed to be short and sweet, perspective for you to consider as you embark from today moving forward on the rest of your life. Please give me just a couple more minutes of your time, short and sweet, 3 points I want to hit. The first is about opportunity. I want to encourage you guys to recognize this incredible opportunity that you have. Guys, you're in a great spot at the prep, at a fantastic age in your life. There are so many who would love to be in your seat. You have a blank canvas known as the rest of your life to work with. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? There are boundless possibilities. So as I said earlier, I want to encourage you to chase your dreams, to identify them, go after them, figure out what you want to do, figure out what you think you're good at, figure out as much as you can. It's going to take some time. Don't get frustrated, guys, if the answers don't come to you right away. They're not going to come to you right away. It is a process. It can be a struggle. It really can. But think about what you're doing, where you are, and where you want to get to in all aspects of your life. Challenge yourself to try to arrive at answers and go for it. There's nothing wrong with reevaluating as you go. You should. Everyone reevaluates as you go. Don't get mad at yourself if you do in the process. That's part of living. Reevaluate. It's very important. But have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish and go for it. Take this opportunity you have right in front of you, this blank canvas that you have right in front of you, and I would certainly encourage you guys to attack life with great passion. The second theme I want to talk to you about is accountability. Taking personal responsibility for things. I want to challenge you guys to take personal responsibility for your life, for your choices, for your actions. Be accountable, guys. Be accountable to your family, to your friends, to the prep, to God. Be accountable to yourself. Look, you cannot control everything. There's so much you cannot control in life, but you can always choose you can always control whether you choose to be accountable. If you make a mistake, and we all make them, and I made plenty, and I'm amazed, frankly, that I'm standing here today. Father Swope, I don't get it. If you make a mistake, guys, admit it, learn from it, move on. The vast majority of people in life want to be surrounded. I know this, I'm telling you, it's a fact. The vast majority of people in life want to be surrounded by someone that they admire. If you are stand-up, if you live life with integrity, people will want you on their side. But more importantly, you will feel good about yourself. Take personal responsibility, be accountable. The third theme that I want to talk to you about is, and I think this one sometimes gets shortchanged, is persistence. The pathway to perseverance. Guys, I believe that love is the greatest, most important human emotion. The most important that we can have in our lives. To love and be loved. It's the essential nutrient of being fully human. So what I'm about to tell you is not as important as love, but it is very important. I believe that persistence, the pathway to perseverance, is the silver bullet in life. What is persistence? I see it as a determined spirit refusing to yield on something you have struggled with and not yet accomplished. A determined spirit refusing to yield on something you have struggled with and not yet accomplished. Put another way, it's all about how you respond in the face of adversity. Guys, we all have adversity in our lives. All of us. At any given time, we have great big heaping piles of adversity, or we have smaller doses of adversity, but we all have it. Our own challenges. Over time, we will all have the great big heaping pile. That's the way life is. It's absolutely inevitable. Things like not getting into the college you want to go to. Things like the girl you're interested in high school not being interested in you. Or not getting picked for a team. I know it stings. I know. I get it, guys. I get it. It stinks. But I'm telling you, that is small potatoes compared to the great big challenges out there in the world. No matter how big or small, I want to encourage you guys as you live life, as you move through life, to try to fortify yourself. I'm telling you, it's so important. Try to strengthen yourself so that when you encounter adversity, big or small, that you have a mindset, a mentality that helps you process it, deal with it, and move forward. Keep moving forward. Even if you can't solve the problem, and there are so many problems that can't be solved, you can always, always, always shape how you respond to it. It was Rocky himself in the movie Rocky Balboa who said, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So true. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. We all get knocked down to the canvas in life. You will struggle, adversity, difficulties, the whole deal. Controlling, or at least really influencing how you respond, your attitude, your desire, your effort, your commitment, your approach in whatever walk of life is so important. I want to read you a quote. It's a quote that Jason Kelce referenced shortly after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That night, Jason Kelce sat there and through tears referenced a quote from our 30th president, Calvin Coolidge. It literally applied to the 2017 Eagles. I mean, Jason Kelce said his grandfather had taught him this quote years ago. He lives life with it. I'm encouraging you guys to live life with this quote in mind. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Guys, that was about 100 years ago. 100 years ago. It's as true today as it was then. It will always, always be true. I'm talking about you reaching deep down in your soul and fortifying your existence as best you can with a commitment to live life with incredible persistence and determination, to persevere so you can get up off the canvas when you need to, as best you can. So guys, go after it in life. Have tons and tons of fun along the way. I want to encourage you to smile and laugh as much as you can. I would encourage you to open yourself up to God and let yourself be open to God's message. Don't be afraid to tell people that you love them. And always remember the prep's message to be meant for others. Thank you so much for listening to me today and for having me here. Being here at this breakfast, this particular breakfast at this moment, is truly one of the great thrills of my life. I appreciate that. Guys, cherish the moments with your dad. Cherish the moments with your families. Your family. You're not at families yet. Guys, I'll say this. Go after it in life and go after it hard with passion. God bless you, and God bless our wonderful school, St. Joe's Prep. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you especially for what you said about the prep. On behalf of those of us who work in marketing and admissions, please say it tomorrow at 10 when you're on the air. What you said about Henry Bender and your dear mother, so warm, so very warm, even the Jesu is now up to 45 degrees. The irony that we had our first ever snow day for temperature last week and then this morning. We will now present the prestigious Father Schnoor Award, and to talk more about today's recipient, would you please welcome to the stage Mr. Tom Lyons of the great prep class of 1960. Tom.
Good morning. As a classmate and friend of Joe Oakes, I am truly honored to introduce a real man for others for the 2019 Father Schnoor winner. I was asked to make some positive comments about Joe, but to keep it around 90 seconds, I paused and thought, is that too long? Or is that too little time? The latter is definitely the case. I could go on for hours about Joe. Joe is extremely generous to so many people in so many organizations. His heart is bigger than this room. And to his credit, he does it quietly without any fanfare. One example is a scholarship program that Joe has founded for inner city youth in the city of Newark. Joe is very loyal. When our friends get together, and Joe does have friends, we all agree if we were in need, we would go to Joe. He wouldn't even ask a question. He would say, sure, whatever. In fact, Joe, can I talk to you after this? He walks the talk. Joe doesn't say he will do it. He actually does it. A man of vision and action who almost always says yes. Finally, he has lived his life and built his family on core Christian values: giving back, respect, honesty, and having Christ at the center of his life. Joe's family is the model of how to create the right legacy. Now, to formally present the Father Schnoor Award, I would like to invite Joe's grandson, Kevin O'Brien, class of 2022, to do the honor and say a few words.
Good morning. My name is Kevin O'Brien, class of 2022, here at the Prep, and lucky to call Joe Oakes my grandfather. I'm honored to be able to recognize him this morning for his prestigious award, and also to share how he's influenced my life and my decision to come to the Prep. Because all of my other male cousins live in North Jersey, there was just a little bit of pressure for me to enroll to the Prep. My grandfather always talks about his time here, and was very easy for me to see how much he loves this place and how much it means to him. It's also nice to see such great relationships that he still has with his classmates to this day. These were big reasons for me deciding to attend the Prep, and I'm pretty sure that decision has put me in a solid lead for favorite grandchild. Having been here for just 6 months, I now understand how special this place is, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. So thank you again for being such a positive role model in my life, for encouraging me to attend the best high school in Philadelphia. It's now my privilege to introduce the winner of this year's Schnoor Award, Joseph Oakes III.
I'm starting with a question. How many in this room would like to stand up and follow your grandson, who's got you half crying, and one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard to the, and I came to this when I was a son. It might not have been of this nature or this size, but I was proud to come with my father, and to hear you say that, it's really special. You did a great job. In fact, you did such a great job, I was going to take credit and said you read it just like I wrote it. And it's amazingly close. I challenge you to take notes as we're going along and say, he said that, Oakes copied him. And that was sort of my traditional tour around the prep. Oaks copied something. And I'd also want to remind you that I've been waiting since 1960 to receive a diploma in a frame. Now, the joke was my transcript was to be destroyed at both the university and at the prep. Mike Bolin, who was a relative, in fact, everybody at the prep, when I was fortunate enough to get in, was a relative, said, Joe, I can bury your transcript, but we just can't authorize a diploma. I said, do it. I got right to the college, same deal, get rid of my transcript, said, don't do it. But I did remember some of the things Joe said without my transcript, and I can, again, attest to what truth he talked about, what a wonderful place this is. So I've had written down about a 30-minute speech, but since Joe spoke, I think we can get through this in 29. Anyway, and I'd also like to thank my classmates and say that this really is it's recognition and the solidarity of the class of 60. And I salute you all for being here, and I appreciate it very much. Tommy, thank you very much. That was great. And I want to also just shout out to all of you. I wanted to make this valuable to both you individually as fathers, friends of the school, and to all of you who attended the school and are as fortunate as I was to have that great Jesuit experience. So we'll give it a swing. What does the prep mean to me? The Ignatian spirit and tradition, a life of service, a life of giving back. For example, recently and I'm not the best at reading emails and such, but I did pick out the tremendous story that was published about what we did for a week in this neighborhood. And I still say we when I say prep, and I never, ever will apologize for that. And I salute you all who took part in that. And it really helped me focus on what I wanted to say back to you this morning, and thanks for this wonderful recognition. This reminds me of the good fortune I had at the prep. So many great teachers who truly lived and transmitted this Ignatian spirit to all of us. At times I remind myself that I was just one of the many of the Oaks family who attended St. Joe's Prep. Best count, including our immediate family, would be about 21. So I was sort of in the middle, maybe 11 before me and 9 after me. And if I was one, I think that makes 21. Anyway, I was good in math. In fact, I'm really proud to say that we're sort of starting a second generation with Kevin, who did such a wonderful job of introducing me, Kevin O'Brien, Michael McCormick, and Finn McCormick, who will be starting next September. So we've got it going. Although we moved to North Jersey, and with 15 grandchildren, I thought we could really move this Oaks attendance along, but they went to Seton Hall Prep up in North Jersey and didn't get to experience the total prep experience. So let me just share with you, Joe, and all of you, a little bit about the family. When I walked into the Jesu, I got goosebumps, so many of the things that happened and were told about us and shared with us in that church. It was a wonderful part of the life here at St. Joe's Prep. My dad, educated by Jesuit ideals at both the prep and the college, played basketball for both the prep and St. Joe's University, or St. Joe's College at the time, and returned to coach his alma mater, St. Joe's Prep, for over 12 years in the mid-40s and early 50s. Jesuits early on were family friends. I started my attendance at the prep, as I said, in 1956. However, I had been part of the prep since 1944, when Dad started coaching, and especially in 1947, and I hope you look and can find it, wasn't able to, when St. Joe's Prep was crowned the city champion of basketball. So they won both the Catholic League and then beat the Public League in the form of John Bartram at the Palestra. The only reason I know that is we heard it 114 times. They had a reel of the audio, of no tape, but audio. And if he was especially annoyed, we listened to it twice while we were eating dinner. But he was a character, all right. And you learn so much from the prep as the youngest of 8, and he was the youngest of 8, 4 brothers who all attended the prep. He taught our family the importance of attending the prep and feeling for the prep. A real disciplinarian, yet he always ended his anger with gentleness and a wide streak of kindness. He was quick to forget, but had an unnerving ability to see a positive in every situation. Mom was the calm in the storm with gentleness in the hurricane of our family. In fact, often a Jesuit or two were seated down to dinner with us. I felt when I went to the prep, not only from 56 to 60, but my whole life, there was always a prep there for dinner. Excuse me, there was always a Jesuit there for dinner. I guess the whole prep could have come too, but we wouldn't have known. The prep also gave me a personal gift, a direction from key teachers. To mention names would be unfair, but 3 or 4 of them really lived with us throughout all the years that my 2 brothers and I attended St. Joe's Prep. For me, Father John Bennett, Father Joseph Ade, Father Joe Almine, and Father Schnoor, who this award is named for, shared the spirit of the school and the tradition that made it so special. I always enjoyed people. I like reaching out and shaking hands and listening to people. Even at the prep, I learned about ambition and commitment. The prep let me plant seeds for success. The teachers, both Jesuits and lay, exemplified what a great Jesuit education was all about. I learned from Jesuits who were practical, holy, smart, and trustful, and sometimes tough. We learned from the way they challenged us and taught us there is no right way to do a wrong thing. I give them credit for influencing the core of my business philosophy and my life in general. During my time in Jesuit institutions, my values began to take root. Integrity, very important to me, hard work and strong faith. I prayed then, I pray now. Because business-wise, and I had started a business in financial services and developed insurance agencies that led to a subsidiary company of John Hancock. And then in 1983, Acorn Financial Services was born. Our success speaks for itself. My sons are now doing a wonderful job, and I believe will continue to carry on the valuable relationships dealing with people of value and integrity. Personally, my wife Lynn and I were married 55 years ago. And it's hard to believe that I look that young. My wife is the gray-haired. Oh, no, my wife is sitting here at the front and has been with me for 55 years. We ended up in Summit, New Jersey, at St. Teresa's Parish of the Archdiocese of Newark. That's really a commuter bedroom for New York City. So to us, it was the guy from Philly coming in to challenge the big time. Fortunate and blessed, we had 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys, and our proud grandparents of the 15 children I mentioned earlier. 8 boys, 7 girls. I think back to the prep many times as our family continues to grow and enjoy life together. I've had an opportunity to coach all of my own children, and some say that was fun, some say that was quite an experience. In our business insurance and financial services, it seemed important to me that my business allow people to be both clients and friends. That led to greater success, and it gave me the opportunity to become involved in education and to select education of the needy to be my favorite charity and avocation. I became chairman of the board of the Archdiocese of Newark, Board of Education, of the Archdiocese of Newark in 1984. Which led to a meeting with Archbishop Peter Geraghty, who is the oldest prelate in the world, and a man not only of great vision, but great power and persuasion. He died when he was 105, which was about a year ago. He saw Newark's inner city children failing and getting lost. Something has to be done, Joe. Aren't you thankful for the education you received? And how do you think I answered that? I had the best there ever was, and will be. Wasn't education what allowed you to get ahead and move along? I think so. It all started with my experience at St. Joe's Prep. He said, I know. You need to create a way for saving kids on the inner streets of Newark. They deserve as much a chance as you do. Why not get involved? As a result, the Archbishop made me a founding member of the board of the Scholarship Fund for Inner City Children. The foundation, its goal, and the children it helps have been a major and rewarding focus for me for over 30 years. The Scholarship Fund supports over 2,800 students to 3,000 a year, with $3 million in tuition assistance yearly, allowing children of all faiths to receive a value-based education in a safe Catholic environment. We work with kids in both primary and secondary schools. I have met students from all over, and I see them beginning on an incredible journey based on this educational support in parochial schools of the Archdiocese in Center City, Newark. In fact, only about 60% are actually Catholics. But all the children we're helping receive help because of the goodness of the Catholic schools. So we've taken on the theme of, we do it because we are Catholic and we wish to spread the value of Catholicity in helping the inner city population. Remember, we all talk about St. Ignatius, and you remember when he began his journey, I guess you would call it, into sainthood. He was a soldier, badly wounded, and as he recovered, he read the life of Christ. When he got better, he limped to Montserrat, I probably said that wrong, and laid his armor, sword, and knife on the altar of Our Lady. Then he continued on his journey, very vulnerable. His only shield was his love of God, just what he wanted and needed to set the world on fire, and he did. These flames are still reaching over 500 plus years later to St. Joe's Prep. Look at us all, proudly sitting here today. It didn't matter what religion you are, you feel it, it's there, it grabs you. The prep education helped us choose to live greater. We chose to live not only for yourself, but for others, and to find a way to help their future. If it is classrooms or hallways, the teachers and the students appreciate the way we treat one another, and continue to do that today. To help others is a gift of all of us. I believe enhancing the educational opportunity for underprivileged children has happened because of the direction I received here at the Prep. Commitment to educational assistance and seeing kids succeed is a great feeling. I have 100 stories that I could tell you off stage about what love and feeling we have received from those families, and it just makes what effort you put forth so worthwhile. When it comes to the big decisions, the big steps, these are the rules I live by, the map I follow. Catholic education has saved me from more than a few mistakes. It has served me well. It has led me on a journey that overwhelms me with gratitude to friendships long-lasting and true, deep and valuable. Think about the Prep and how we can help it continue. Remember how much it did for us, academically, spiritually, and financially. It also led me to a family that I can say fills me with boundless pride, happiness, and love. My wife, Lynn, the most unselfish person I know, shares my commitment to Catholic education along with my children, Kelly, Joe, Kristen, and Bill, and their spouses, Sean, Allie, Pat, Kate, and the 15 grandchildren. St. Joe's Prep has been my guiding star. I thank President John Swope. I thank the entire Prep faculty over all the years, the Board of Trustees, the Alumni Association, and the entire St. Joe's Prep family for honoring me today. And I thank all of you for being here. I pledge to try and keep my piece of the fire burning for as long as the journey lasts. Thank you again for this wonderful day and for the time to visit about memories, and above all, to continue to be part of the prep that we know and love. And I know it will continue in that way for you going forward. So thanks again, and God bless you all. Go Prep.
Next up will be the Man for Others Award, presented annually by the Mission and Ministry Office to a junior at the Prep who has shown himself to be worthy of distinction. To present this year's award, please welcome last year's winner, Senior John Fioravanti. John, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Braithwaite. If we asked any of the alumni gathered here today what qualities they'd hope for in a current prep student, I imagine the following characteristics would be mentioned a lot: a competence in academics and co-curricular activities, an awareness of the world around us, and a compassion to encounter the needs of that same world. And that just about perfectly describes Chris Goot. Chris is the quintessential prep student. The depth of his involvement in our school underscores his exemplary work ethic, commitment, and genuine care for others. Simply put, Chris has a huge heart, and he gives of himself fully from that same heart every day. Chris possesses an incredible enthusiasm for selfless giving, both in his creation of new service projects and in his unbelievably generous participation in those and so many other service opportunities we offer here. As one of my own classmates said recently, Goot does more service work than anyone at the Prep. Chris Goot truly embodies what it means to be a man for others. And so, with that in mind, it seems only fitting, and it is my great honor, to present this year's Men for Others Award to Junior Christopher Goot.
The Reverend David A. Sauter Award is presented annually to a student who has overcome great obstacles in his time at the Prep. And to present the award, I'd like to bring up assistant football coach, Mr. Ryan Morrison. Ryan.
Morning, everybody. How you doing? My name's Ryan Morrison. As Mr. Braithwaite said, I've been an assistant football coach here for the last couple years, and I work back in the finance office as well. It's a very special place, and I'd like to thank everybody for building such a spectacular community that develops young men, you know, I'm just very grateful to play a small part. In our football program, we talk a lot about the role of a father, which, if you could sum it up into one sentence, it's to prepare his kids for life without him. And many of us in here are very lucky to still have our dads on speed dial if we just want to, you know, catch up, talk about the Flyers game last night, or you know, any fatherly advice that we might need. For one special young man in here today, life without dad became reality just a couple days before his 18th birthday, back in October. Johnny Freeman is everything about coaching that keeps me coming back. He came to me as a sophomore, the size 15 feet, long limbs, running like Bambi out there, couldn't really control himself. Didn't have great practice habits. We'll leave the Penn State service trip story out of it, but he has a tremendous ability to make the people around him smile, a tremendous work ethic. I cannot be more complimentary of the type of young man that he is, and his practice habits did get better. Every day, every week, and every season, Johnny was just consistently, on an upward trajectory. He showed up every day with intensity in his work ethic and his preparation. And as I mentioned, he has just a deep passion for, making those around him better. Our 2018 offense was record-breaking. We averaged over 40 points a game. We had over 3,000 passing yards. Johnny was really the focal point of our passing game. I could bore you with countless highlights. He scored, I don't know who's going to score the first touchdown this season. He scored down in Tampa in the first drive of the season. He scored this year down in Maryland on the first drive of the season. Probably, the easiest way to identify Johnny's impact on our season this year is he scored 7 touchdowns just in the playoffs alone in our last 6 games of the season, just complete dominance. And he did all of it with a bum foot, and that was not even the biggest source of his adversity that he was going through. Big John Freeman passed away in October due to complications from a stroke that he had. Just a few short weeks before that, it was pretty sudden and unexpected. And Johnny, I cannot imagine what you're going through on a day-to-day basis. But I'm very grateful to be able to sit here and publicly thank you for your courage, your fortitude, your leadership. You never stopped getting open. You never stopped blocking. You never stopped asking questions. You never stopped leading. You never stopped being a captain. There's that, as has been identified today. Many of us I can't even wrap my brain around what this young man was going through. I love you. I'm a better man for knowing you. To his mom, Tian, I appreciate the sacrifices that you've made the last 4 years to bring him into my life. I love you guys very dearly. Johnny, you truly are a man for others. Johnny will be continuing his football career at Gannon University after this volleyball season ends. He's going to be studying business if all goes to plan. His storied football career here at the Prep finishes with the following laundry list of accolades: first team All-Catholic, first team All-City, first team All-State, 40 wins, 40 in 3 years, 2-time state champion, 2018 St. Joe's Prep Offensive Player of the Year, and now it is a tremendous honor to present Johnny with the Reverend David A. Sauter Award.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 32nd President of St. Joseph's Prep, Father John Swope of the Society of Jesus, from the great Prep class of 1972. He's hugging people now, but here he comes. He's on his way. The day of the Oscars, and the Oscar goes to the tallest man we know, Father John Swope.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning, everyone. Today we have honored 4 great men and who have had a significant impact on the Prep. And gentlemen, the generosity and support that the Prep has received from you really knows no bounds. Joe DeCamera, a huge thank you to you for your inspiring and insightful and very, very personal comments. Thank you very much. And we do expect to hear about it tomorrow at 10 a.m. And we always look forward to hearing you on the radio. We really do. I'm an avid listener. I start out with Angelo at 6 a.m. To Joe Oakes, I am in awe of your determination and just the boundless energy you have brought to really impacting the lives of so many young people through the Scholarship Fund in North Jersey. I've heard so many stories about it from you. Just a wonderful example to all of us. You have shown a lot of love to your family, to your community. I know how proud you are of your grandson. A prepper. That's wonderful. And I can't think of anyone more deserving of the Schnoor Award. Chris and Johnny, this entire room is proud of you both. I hope you felt that. I hope you felt that love when you came up here. Standing ovations, because you caused us all to rise up. Just here in this room, you caused us to rise up. And we know that that is what the both of you are going to do as you move forward with your lives and you respond to this call of Christ to rise up and make your claim and make your mark on our world. So God bless both of you. As the president of the Prep, I want to thank you personally for being just exemplary students and exemplary young men here at the Prep. I could say that about so many of you, but you are the two we are honoring today, and you stand as representatives, right? You know, there are so many great young guys here like yourselves, but we are honoring you today. To all the other current students here today, look around the room. This right here, this is what makes the Prep so special. It is generations of preppers who come together to support their school. So thank you all for being here. We're dedicated to you. We want your success. We want you to grow into young men for and with others. And to our parents, thank you. Thank you for entrusting your sons to us. As I've said to many of you, and I've said hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, it really does mean a lot. That's what I consider you're doing. You're entrusting your sons to us, and it is a sacred trust that we share with you. And to all my fellow alums who are here this morning, thank you. You hold the Prep in your hearts. You keep sacred the awesome memories of your own Prep experience and the future of the Prep. As you know, as I tell a lot of you, the future of the Prep depends on you. We need you to heed the call, to help us be prepared for the next generation of preppers who will come walking up a little nervously through the gate at 18th Street and will come in here for their first day, and they'll sit there like all of us did with an adolescent hand poised over paper, ready to take their first notes. We've all gone through that. We want that to happen for generations to come. My heart soars as I look around this room. Past, present, and future preppers all gathered as one to celebrate the awesome impact of our school on all of us. So keep this day and keep the Prep in your hearts forever. And as God has brought us here safely this day, may God give us safe return home this afternoon, and may God bless each one of us. And may God continue to bless St. Joseph's Prep. Thank you very much.